Welcome to Never Is Funny, the podcast where I, Patrick O'Connell, talk to funny people and hope to God they talk back. This episode, I'm talking to Lewis Blomfield, a prolific comedian and stand-up. He's here today, this episode, well, I guess it is today whenever you listen to this, it's irrelevant. Anyway, he's here because he is performing as a member of the prestigious NewsRevue at the Edinburgh Fringe. It's a satirical, almost cabaret act, which has been around for 44 years now. It's crazy. It's a big deal. I'm not going to lie to you, though. I was worried when I sat down to record this episode because it came together very short notice. I knew I was going to be speaking to a member of the NewsRevue, but I only found out it was going to be Lewis like an hour and a half before we recorded. Luckily, Lewis was a great guest, and to be honest with you, absolutely fucking wired in a really, really good way. You'll see what I mean. But yeah, I really love this one. And hopefully you will too. You sweet little angel, you.
Welcome back to the show, where I talk to comedians in the know. That's right. It's Never Was Funny. It's Never Was Funny. The show is called Never Was Funny. It's the name of the show, by the way. Never Was Funny. That's the gist of it. The name. The show's called Never. This is like the title music. This is it's called Never Is Funny. All right.
So, welcome back to Never Is Funny. This time I've started saying special, and I can't stop saying that for guests. So, I have on special guest Lewis Blomfield, who is a comedian, which is, my guests tend to be.
Mm-hmm.
Specifically, you're in the NewsRevue for Edinburgh Fringe, which is very exciting, but you've done other things. And amongst the other things you've done is, you told me you've, during a reading week at uni, you and a few friends blacked out some windows and took sleeping pills. That's the setup for the story.
We did, Patrick. Yes, we did. Yeah, we had a few days off and we wanted to see if we could, I think it was sort of a test of a body clock, if we could do it.
Okay.
So we blacked out all the windows and we confined ourselves to the bottom floor of the house, and we contained it and we filmed it, and we would go up to the camera, I think every few hours or so, or what we thought were few hours or so,
right,
and put what time we thought it was. We were just so off, like right from the get-go, because we slept. I think we underestimated the power of the sleeping pills, and I think we slept for like 13 hours in the first bit. We thought we'd done about 6 or something.
Yeah.
And then we originally thought we'd do it for the entire week, and then we didn't. We did it for either 2 days or just over 2 days. And by the end, it really did get quite cabin fever. I remember my housemate Joe, he was kicking off. And then the people that came to release us from it, they came in to all this shouting, because Joe was saying, I'm going to tear the things down.
Jesus Christ.
We need to get out. He said, we need to get out. He was convinced we'd only been there like 9 hours.
Oh my God.
And we had to hold him down, and then they came in, and it was all this big shock. And then the more lasting thing of it was quite how underwhelming the reception was to anyone else who found out. We went and saw friends at university, and they said, where have you been? And we told them, and they went, oh, right. And then that was it.
Okay, I got a couple of questions. I mean, my first one
Sorry,
is...
you were going to ask. Yes.
What was the purpose of why did you need sleeping pills? What?
I think we didn't trust ourselves. We thought that the excitement, the sheer, all of us being confined in this little den, that it would get to, we wouldn't, I don't know, we thought that it wouldn't, we had convinced ourselves quite effectively, I think, that they were very necessary to the thing. They gave it a slightly scientific edge. Do you know what I mean? That we were, if we were using these performance enhancers, that somehow that was going to, equate to a better, in a weird way, a more honest experience.
Yeah, like a base case, I see.
Yes, exactly. That we were all starting from the same point. I don't know, really. Who was it?
That's fantastic. I mean, did you note down results or anything, or did it just happen and that was it, and it never was spoken of again?
We definitely noted, it was our friend Orally. She lent us her GoPro, and that's how we filmed it. And we didn't know this either. By the end, it didn't have enough memory to film it.
Right.
But it has, I don't know if this is if she had done this or what, or how it's like a fail-safe technique or something. But if essentially it then just started taking photos every like 10 minutes or something. So at the start you've got this, really fluid video of us, and then by the end it's this like weird sporadic.
Oh my god, it's like found footage horror. That's mental.
Yeah. There's this bit where we pin down one of our housemates, and we're trying to tickle him, and I know, yeah, this little like Lord of the Flies little tableau going on in the moment.
Oh, that's brilliant. No,
it was a waste of time, to be honest, Patrick, but it was a good waste of time,
all the best things are. I mean, that's fantastic.
Absolutely.
Did you publish this anywhere?
Absolutely not.
Wouldn't be safe.
No, we really didn't. And as I say, in fact, it was only really met, I would say, with a bit, not like disdain, but people were just, I don't think, people were, they stretched thin the veneer of, we weren't exactly doing the, Stanford University prison experiment that we thought we were doing. It was very quickly held up to us that we were just, a bunch of sweaty young men in a room drawing pictures of each other. But there we are. But, life's enriched by new experience.
Yeah, absolutely. That's brilliant. I'm utterly entranced by that. That's brilliant off the bat.
It's funny, I wonder if anyone still has any of the... I don't think any of the footage would survive. And we're all the better for it, Patrick.
Yeah, I don't... It feels like some kind of info hazard were that to be released. If you watch that, it might do something to your mind. Yeah. That's incredible.
I do like it. I find that whole sort of thing, like documenting of stuff like that, fascinating. I remember there was this... sorry, I'm going off on one now, but...
I'm following.
There's a YouTube channel, or at least there was. I'm not sure if the videos have been removed or not. And it was called CCTV Man. Yeah. And it was quite vague in the conceit of it. It was sort of arguing there are cameras everywhere. Right. Why should you be, people have got footage of you. Why should you be concerned just because I'm holding the camera? But he would like walk into businesses, that he was not a part of at all. And he would just go into like a board meeting and just stand there with a camera and just film them. And it's like...
Oh, that's brilliant.
I know. And I've revisited, at the time I was so fascinated with it. And then I remember my friend Ojan and I used to watch them religiously. He would go into, where did he go? I think he literally went into like Yale University and went into one of like the big main lecture halls and just started filming everyone. And I don't know quite what I think of it now, actually, now I look back at it. But at the time, it was around that time that we did the blackout as well. Yeah. And I think there was definitely, I had a taste for it or something, this sort of weird act of documenting stuff and recording things. I don't know about it now.
That's absolutely incredible. I gotta chase that. Huh?
Yeah, CCTV Man, I think it was definitely, or security cameraman. And people kicked off as well. Because there's this one, just this bloke, this geezer in full Peloton cycling gear comes out of a pharmacy and he's holding something, he's got, and it's probably his medication or something, so he doesn't want people, and this guy's filming him and he just, get the hell away from me, dude. And he's got this weirdly sort of AI inciting voice that sort of riles them up. He's like, there's a camera in there. Why are you... the more and more I talk about it now, actually, much like the blackout, the more I'm trying to distance myself from it now, actually. So I don't recommend it. In fact...
No, it's too late. I am massively intrigued. Yeah. That's incredible.
Yeah, it's definitely worth a look at. But there's loads of stuff like that, I think, that's quite interesting. Like the act of watching stuff and things. Like even now, like, this is... I'm sorry, I'm getting all meta and like thinking about it now, but like, just the thing of us two talking now. Yeah. And obviously, I don't know, it's just like, do you know what I mean? Sometimes I find it a bit funny, like, the idea of just, like, okay, so here's a question. Yeah. Will you watch these back? Like, do you enjoy, like, or not enjoy, that sounds like, no, I'm not trying, sorry. Does that get you off? No,
yeah. Every time I record a podcast, I sit back and I light a cigarette and sit in my robe and watch it.
Say, Patrick, this is visual audio dynamite. And you look good, kid. You look real good. But no, I guess the reason I bring it up, I sometimes don't like... It's not as bad like now watching me live, like doing this with you and stuff, but I don't like watching things back, really. So if I record gigs, I either do with a dictaphone, so I can just hear it.
Yeah.
And I think also some in like maybe a weird little like pompous way. I'm like, yeah, and I can hear the laughter. Do you know what I mean? You can sort of sense it a bit more and stuff. Or I film it on I don't know if I've got it here. Oh yeah, here we go. So I film it all on this like
Oh wow.
Panasonic Handycam. Well, no, Sony Handycam, isn't it? Panasonic little SDR H80. It's got this little sign. It's like ready for YouTube. It was like YouTube had just come out. Yeah, and it's bad quality, but I sort of like that. I don't know why.
It's quite atmospheric. It's kind of Blair Witch.
But yeah, it sort of blurs it a bit, and you can't quite make out, which maybe is bad. Maybe I shouldn't, but I don't know.
It's not something I struggle with that much. I think I've gotten used to over time because I have to, like, I don't watch these back, but like, it used to freak me out listening back to my voice, but now I spend so much time just like editing over and over that I don't know, I've kind of drowned it out. And also I think part of it is that like, I think I would feel weirder if I was recorded without me knowing, but because I know I'm on like a podcast, I'm doing a podcast voice and I'm talking, it's fine. But when I have been recorded in the background of a conversation and I didn't realize until afterwards that is a little bit more. Do you sound way
different?
I don't know. I think probably. I think I do, but other people have told me that I don't. I think a lot of it is very internal.
There's, I can't remember where it is, but there was this good little documentary about. There's a word for it, which is sort of in a similar way to that. I think is it like quantum physics or something? Where it's like you can change the outcome by measuring it, that sort of thing.
Oh yes, yeah.
There's a term, I don't know the term, but there's a term about like the idea of you can never truly have like this authentic recorded conversation unless you don't.
Right, yeah.
The way the guy does it, he records the people within it when they don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
And then he records them afterwards on like a similar thing being like, oh, would you mind if we spoke about... But even then it's like, it's just weird, like the little like minutiae of how it affects and stuff. Because I was thinking about, like, I think like do other people practice what they're going to say? I'm sure so many people do.
Yeah.
But I do. Or even, not even like practice, but like I'll think about... Do you know what I mean? I guess that's sort of, on the one hand, preparing your notes and things, as you would do in most other, like, preordained interactions. Maybe you wouldn't. Maybe that's mad.
I don't know. I think if it is, I am as well. I do that.
Sorry, I'm getting too hypothetical. So, NewsRevue. No.
Oh, yeah, that's all good. I mean, that's what this show is very much just like that.
Yeah.
It's just great for me. It makes it a lot easier to work through.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it would be good to talk about, from your perspective at least. I'm sure you want to promote your show.
Yeah. No, I know. Yeah, I got to sell this show, Pat.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, okay. So why don't we? I mean, I'm happy to attack from whatever angle you like. Mm-hmm. We can go straight towards what's NewsRevue and what's the show, or we can come in from like, who are you? What's your type of comedy?
Okay. I mean, yeah, certainly. I mean, I can. So I started comedy. My sort of little thing was I had been at Goldsmiths. I was at Goldsmiths University doing theatre.
Yeah.
But sort of, and I did really enjoy it, but I was sort of there just because. So I had gone to drama school for a year.
Okay.
And then they were like, don't come back. I know. They said I was a disruptive influence, Patrick. You believe that?
Oh, how can you be a disruptive influence at drama school? Sure, you should get promoted.
I think I was just too young and just a bit immature and I was just chatting all the time. And I'd never lived away from home either. And I think I don't know. I think they were actually, as much as I begrudge and bitterly resent the school, which is now closed, actually. So I can say whatever I want, really. Yeah, it couldn't have happened to a nicer drama school, in my opinion. No, I think they were fair enough. I remember chatting to the guy who used to run it, who I think actually had to resign under the weight of allegations. But I know. I was going to say his name then, but I'm not going to. I'm going to hold it. I'm going to hold it back. I mean, I'm not naming names. But anyway, so from that, I then went to Goldsmiths, and I didn't really know what I was going to do. And I had a job in a pub called the Old Nun's Head in Nunhead, which still does really good comedy nights. There's a really good one called Clown Soup there. And then there's a really good performance evening. It's not so much comedy, but it's more like really good performance art called Pomp.
Right.
Anyway, but yeah. So there was a night, I was working at that, and there was a night there that was run by a couple who are still some of my really, very, very dear friends, Martin and Vivian Sohn.
Okay.
And you may have heard of them, but they along with Malcolm Hardy, who's now dead, sadly, they sort of, really pioneered the alternative scene.
Okay.
There's an amazing documentary which you can't find anymore. This lad who used to do the tech for that night, he did this amazing documentary about the Tunnel Club, which was this alternative comedy venue. Well, it was a nightclub near the Blackwall Tunnel. And it was like sort of at the time, it was very much of the moment, but yeah, alternative comedy was coming up, or even stand-up that wasn't, just sort of this, oh God, I can't remember his name, but it was just people doing like impressions of like, oh, Betty, you done a whoopsie on the carpet.
Yeah.
Do you know the bloke? Yeah. And so this was a bit of a reaction against that. They had like the incredible acts. Yeah, so sorry, I'm going off on a bit of a spiel here.
No, this is great.
Really interesting. It's very interesting. Like,
what time period is this?
This is, I believe, to my knowledge, the late 70s, early 80s.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Perhaps even a little bit sooner than that. It was of the time of like Vic Reeves, so he performed there a lot. Vic Reeves, Harry Enfield.
Oh, right.
Like Joe Brand.
Yeah.
But then like far more obscure, or people that weren't, as well known now, they had this guy who was called like the Iceman Cometh, and he would just come on every week with a like cinder block sized block of ice and a blowtorch, and he would just melt it.
Oh, that's brilliant.
And people would be going meant, people would be screaming, and some of it was bad, some of it was awful, but some of it was amazing, and Martin and Vivian were really part of that. Vivian is a very talented actor as well and musician, but she did all this sort of musical comedy. She's a really talented saxophonist, and Martin had started doing this deranged Punch and Judy show.
Right.
And then they all met and formed this night at the Tunnel Club. And then it sort of, it had its time, and then they went and they made Up the Creek.
Okay.
Which is the club in Greenwich. And then I'm not sure whether it was following Malcolm's death or what spurred on the change, but they then relinquished Up the Creek, and it has gone on to become, far more commercial and a lot more mainstream in its comedy. I'm not complaining about it. I think, it's good, but it's not like the alternative venue that it was previously. Anyway, they then went to a pub called the Ivy House, and then when that closed, they then went to the Old Nun's Head.
Okay.
You can cut out all of this because this is all a bit of faffing and stuff, but yeah.
No, this is brilliant.
So I was working at the Old Nuns. I met Martin and Vivian and got on with them just personally. And then Martin had asked me what I wanted to do. Yeah. Once I left university, and I said I wasn't sure, but I'd always had thought about comedy and had always liked the idea. Do you hear my voice go then? I'm here to pick up your daughter, sir.
I'm so used to it by now.
Edit that out. Get that out.
I recorded one a couple of episodes ago where I was just coming off the end of a bad cold. Yeah. My voice is mostly fine, but I have an awful laugh at it because I already have quite like a shrieky, like uproarious laugh. But because I had like a terrible chest cold, it was just every time I laughed, it was just disgusting, like wet sound.
Just dropping out the mic.
Yeah, I know. It was tricky to deal with because it was either, okay, well, it's kind of gross, so I can get rid of it. But also, if I get rid of it, then it just looks like everything fell flat the whole time. Yeah. So, yeah, don't worry about it.
You had to ride it out, man. You had to ride it out.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you'll get like the niche, the Mucus fans.
Oh, yes.
The Mucus ASMR crew.
I'm trying to hit that demographic.
Yeah. There are websites. Right, and then... Anyway, I digress and flush. So then I said, comedy. And he said, oh, well, I'll give you a slot. And I did it. This was, how old am I now? I'm 32. And so when I was 20, maybe 10 years ago, maybe 9 years ago, 9 or 10 years ago. Anyway, and I did it. And then, it went pretty well. And then I did another set like a couple of months later, and it went well. And then I was very lucky. It was very serendipitous because just at that time, Lindsay Sharman, the previous host, who was a very good host, had just published a book, and I think sort of wanted to concentrate on that more. And so they said, look, as a sort of probationary period, you can host it. And I think it was sort of, it was advantageous to them perhaps as well because I was friends with quite a few like young performers and comedians and stuff as well, and they were very much still interested in keeping. I think one of the like best things about those guys was that sometimes I think some of the older performers, I'm going to be making enemies now, but I don't know. I think in any profession, do you know what I mean? People can be a bit like, well, you're taking food out of my mouth, so
no, definitely,
no, thank you, book me. Whereas they were very Martin and Viv have always, championed, new talent and looking into stuff. That have been truly wonderful, I think, for the London scene. And so and so I hosted it, and by the virtue of that, my third gig was paid.
Right.
I had this regular, I had this residency, I guess, this regular spot.
Yeah.
And then through that, I was meeting people and doing lots of gigs with like quite big names, and so I was quite lucky with that. I would say I probably didn't take advantage of it enough. I maybe did rest on my laurels a bit, but that was probably just my own laziness. But and then was sort of like, I'm definitely going to just do this. This is just going to be comedy. Yeah. I was doing gigs and was weirdly like getting like quite a bit of like corporate work.
Yeah, right.
Like I remember like doing this. It was like an investment bank firm that had to like dissolve and then because I did like research into it, because I was like, I was doing their like staff dinner party at this restaurant, this mad restaurant in Mayfair called, who cares? It's called Sexy Fish.
Right.
It is bonkers. Like, and that word gets thrown around a bit, but it's just like pictures of the owner with like the Olsen twins and loads of celebrities and stuff. And,
my God.
I was like, what is the angle here?
That's mental.
And then I went in and they just didn't want me there. And then I was in like the like maitre d' and stuff. And and then like doing this gig and like when I was like researching them and stuff, there were all these articles about like how like, I don't know, they owed money to the Scottish government and stuff like that.
Jeez. Did you work any of that into your set?
No, I tell you what I did with them. Because on their website was the team, and I learned all their names off by heart. And so it's only like 30 of them in the room and stuff, and so it was weird. I also think one of the assistants booked me, and I think like that they thought I was like someone's kid. Do you know what I mean? Like I thought they were like, what's he doing? Like what's he doing here? But then like entertained by it. But I just learned all their names and like little bits about them, and so started like kind of going into weirdly acute detail about them, and that sort of freaked them out a bit. But so that was a bit of a funny time, really. But then that was the sort of time when I was just gigging and then doing like the odd shift here and there, but not really. But I was doing gigging, and then I was doing a lot of genuinely like most of my income from and stuff at the time was pub quizzes. Yeah, I remember this guy was like, "I'm starting this company. You should do it," and I was like, "No, I'm an artist." Yeah. Thought I was like the big I am, and I was like, no. And then he was like, I'll give you this much, and I was like, I will do as many as you want. Oh yeah. And so I was doing that. So then I guess I had like a little bit of sort of momentum with that and stuff. And then I had my own sort of like personal issues and things, as well as I would say COVID then coming along. And I mean, just for like, just in what people pay now, still, I would say it is not. I'm lucky. You're lucky to get anything for it. Really, I do think that a little bit. I'm not going to, sit here and be like, maybe that's a bad angle. Maybe that's a scab attitude. I should be on the picket line, and be like, no, pay us more. I wish everyone got paid a lot more. But or just to like put it in like real terms, there was a place that I used to do pretty much every week that I would get 90 quid. Yeah, and then they came back to me recently, in fact, and I won't like saying it recently, and were like the same but for 50. Christ. And then if you think about like inflation as well, that's even like that's not only is that a pay cut, that's an even bigger pay cut. Like because the money doesn't go as far. So then I sort of realised then I was like, right, I've got to try and diversify my portfolio, if you will. And I'd been to drama school, so I then wanted, and I am going somewhere with this, I swear. But
it's great. I really don't want to cut you off. I just gotta say, because it's free Zoom, it's about to end the meeting in about a minute and a half.
Oh, I see. Okay, so then we have to rejoin.
The other thing as well is we're coming up to the middle section, which is where I'd ask you to like pick a song and then I do because of copyright, I can't just play it. I do a thing where I like try and deliver the lyrics in some kind of funny way.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, just whatever song you would.
Yeah. What song would I like you to do? I would like you to do... I don't think you're going to be able to find this.
Oh, I'm intrigued.
Go on YouTube and see if you can find it, if it's got the lyrics. The theme to Portland Bill.
Okay. I'm excited.
Yeah.
Excited? I've got no fucking idea what Portland Bill is.
Or if not, the theme to Joe 90. Have you ever watched that show?
Joe 90?
That show? Joe
no,
90.
it rings a bell.
It's like a... It's like a weird, like... You know, there was like those sort of like, not off-brand, but slightly weird... We're going to cut out any second now, aren't we? It's like like Captain Scarlet or Thunderbirds.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah. Like puppets.
Yeah. It's like those.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah, but remember there was like Sting...
Hello, and welcome to the middle section of the show. Now, what is in a clear attempt to sabotage me, Lewis has suggested 2 songs, one of which has no lyrics, and one of which has 4 lines. This is an attempt to silence me, it's an attempt to hide my voice, and I'm not going to stand for it. But you know what, Lewis? You've sown the seeds of your own destruction. Because now, well, buddy, I gotta beat you at your own game. Okay? So in between each of the 4 lines of this song, I will be dropping a hot, sexy, master-crafted piece of satire, because, frankly, the world's been waiting for my takes. This is where the needle shifts. This is where the revolution begins. This is Never as Satire. Podcast. Like Never as Funny podcast, but the word's been replaced. Come with me to the rolling sea. Donald Trump? Let's just say, I'm not a fan. While the weather's coming still. Well, you know Rishi Sunak, he used to be Prime Minister. Now, he's not Prime Minister anymore. And we'll have some fun and laughter with Margaret Thatcher. Remember her? She died. And good thing too, because her grave's nearby, and I'm thirsty. All right, hang on. No, I mean, I was thirsty, but then I drank a lot of water, so I need to pee, and her grave's nearby. But in this scenario, I don't have access to a regular bathroom, and I'm like very desperate. What? So I'm gonna piss on her. The Adventures of Portland Bill. J.K. Rowling's a prick.
So I was saying before, I was just saying that, yeah, so sort of post-COVID and with the money thing going more and more, I had to sort of work more and sort of was of the opinion, I was like, right, you know, I've either got to sort of try now or just keep it as a sort of hobby.
Yeah.
And be happy with that, which again, I don't begrudge that sort of thing, but, you know, I thought I might as well roll the dice and have a little go. So I pushed back into trying to get more acting work, as well as actually sort of getting my own stuff. So I do a lot of like gardening and landscaping.
Oh, right.
As a source of income. Yeah. I don't know if I should say this really, in case they're not going to listen to this. Sorry, that is not an insult to you, Patrick. That's just I just don't see.
They're probably not my core demographic.
Some of the clientele, I don't know, maybe. And if I do, I apologise for that judgment. That's hubris on my part. I did a job with this guy, and we had to make his hedges the right size so that he could fit his pneumatic dolly through it, like a big lifting platform.
Right.
To get from his dining room. This is a huge terraced house.
Yeah.
And it was because in his shed, he had this massive outdoor shed, like basically like an office outdoor, at the back of the garden. And in it, well, I went to the toilet in the main house, and in the dining room, this enormous room, was just like 16 pinball machines.
Jesus Christ.
And then there were 3 or 4 in the shed. He had them on rotation because they eat so much power, he couldn't play them all at the same time. He had to, it's just, yeah.
Oh my God.
That was just another, but no, it's just, yeah, so doing gardening and landscaping and stuff, but no. So I pushed for more acting work, and I was, again, quite lucky in that I got stuff fairly straight away. A lot of immersive stuff, which I think is now, a very commonplace thing for like.
Yeah.
It's funny. It's so funny. I do think back to when I was at drama school, and they were talking about immersive wasn't really. It was sort of just as Punch Drunk or Shunt or what was the other one? It was like You Me Willy Bum Bum Train or something like that. But I know it's quite strange, but I think it was quite a serious endeavor. I think I don't know why.
Right.
And I remember them talking, and they were like, and of course there's stuff like this. These are the tutors. And they were like, and of course there's stuff like the London Dungeon, and everyone was like, It's just it. I know people that are on the list trying to get seen for London Dungeon now because it's like, it's immersive. It's some of the key immersive. So it's funny how the appetites and attitudes change. Anyway,
definitely.
Yeah, I got a bit of. I wonder now in this second bit if I'm going to start sounding more. If my voice is going to be high pitched. I just went and had some food with my partner while we were on the break, and she was like, "How's it going?" I was like, "I'm worried. I'm worried. I'm like affecting a deep voice or something. I don't want to listen. I'm going to get him to change the pitch."
I think it'll be good. Unless you hit a couple helium balloons in the meantime.
Yeah. So hello, excuse me. Yeah, so I started going for more acting stuff, and then that's actually how I got to NewsRevue.
Yes.
I had spoken to a couple of people that were sort of friends of friends who'd been to, I think it was my friend Sam who went to Central, and some of his friends, and they had done it, and they said, yeah, it's worth looking into, it's good. It's a sort of comedy musical theatre mashup in its sense. And then I just saw it on Spotlight and went for it, and then unfortunately couldn't attend the audition because I had another job. Couldn't do the audition, and was like, oh, can I audition, next week? And at this point, I had no idea of how quick the turnaround is for this show because I was also sort of aware that it had run for a long time. I was not aware that it runs consistently for a long time.
Ah.
Yeah. So right now, so our first performances will be on the 4th.
Oh, okay.
I know, Election Day. So for a political satire show.
Oh, right. Yeah, of course.
I know.
Perfect.
Let's see who I know. And we've done so many big numbers, hoping that Reform wins. Can you imagine if we don't? No.
I mean, the silver lining
that wasn't very good. Cut that out.
The silver lining if Reform wins, it's like, it creates generational levels of comedic satire.
I think I'd sort of freak out a bit. I was saying to someone earlier today that this is my hot take. The cost of living has, if anything, reduced the number of sort of very fringe crackpot candidates.
Yeah.
I think you've got like Lord Binface and maybe Screaming Lord Such, the Monster Raving Loony Party. But I remember genuinely when Corbyn and Bojo were going at it, I remember getting so many leaflets for like there was like the It Just Makes Sense party. And they wanted all speed limits removed, and they wanted like smoking to be the owner's decision, and then also at the end it was like, and no to a hard Brexit. Like they were just like, we got to throw that one in.
Right.
But I'm waffling on. But yeah, the show. So our first performance will be on this Thursday.
Yeah.
The last cast, so not the ones. Ours is a slightly more of an outlier because we're going to Edinburgh. But the week before there was another cast doing a show, and then whilst they do it, so we're rehearsing in another space, getting ready, and then previously to them there is never a weekend off, so it's kind of mad, really. I do really admire. So it's Jess, Lauren, and Emma are the production team, the sort of beating heart of it all, and there are some others who come in whose names I've forgotten now. That's bad, but there's tech staff and things, but then there's also, I think, other directors and consultant people. But yeah, these three are at the core of it, and just to keep it going, like it's pretty wild, really. I do respect it. Definitely. Yeah. So anyway, so I tried to audition and couldn't, and I was like, oh, well, can I audition next week? And they said, I'm so sorry, it will be too late. It's usually if you've got something, you won't hear for for a little while. It's usually if you haven't got it, they'll tell you on the day.
Yeah.
I then went and auditioned again because I just saw it pop up, and I emailed them saying, hey, because as well, it's tricky because obviously there's a new director each time.
Right.
And a new musical director.
So you can't like form a...
Well, you've auditioned, I was offered an audition for that show, but then it's completely different. I then tried to get auditions for other shows, but they obviously thought, oh, well, we've got someone who fills that sort of, or just for whatever reason. I kept at it because it sort of intrigued me, this idea of this. And I also, in fact, a little bit of throwback to what we were saying earlier, I spoke to Martin.
Yeah.
Martin in the 90s, I think in the early 90s, they used to do it. Now it's a solid hour. So it's a solid hour show.
Okay.
Really fast paced, sometimes upwards of like 25 sketches.
God, right. Okay.
And songs combined. So it's, just on.
Yeah.
Whereas before it was like that, but it was 30 minutes and then a 15-minute break where a stand-up would come on. And then 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And for whatever, I don't know when that changed, but yeah, and my friend Martin, he'd done it and he was saying, yeah, you should go for it. It's it would be a fun challenge. And so eventually got it. And then I remember getting a phone call, like maybe like 3 hours later.
God.
I was just like, oh, well, brilliant. That's just like, you know what I mean? To like let me know I hadn't. And then I had it. And, you go in and it's a very quick turnaround.
Yeah.
For what it is. It's very, I would say, and I remember speaking to someone who'd done it before, a friend Sophia, who was saying like, it's going to seem a little bit too much. Also because it's constantly changing as well. Not, again, the Edinburgh show is somewhat different in that it's sort of a half the year in review. So the top stories.
Yes.
And then also, there'll be stuff that we'll have to cover that,
Exactly, yeah.
Is recent. And
I did wonder about that.
Yeah.
Because, like, presumably, like I said, it's an hour of 25 skits and songs.
Yeah.
That presumably you've got to get pretty tightly down. But then also, it's satire, which has to be of the now. So that, has it changed as you've been doing it, or? When
I did my previous run, which was, I think it was around October sometime, not last year, maybe the year before, I can't remember. But, so you rehearse Monday to Thursday.
Yeah. And
then you have the show on the Thursday. And then you have show Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And on the Thursday, you'll pretty much always go in. So throughout the Monday, it's not just rehearsal. It's also sort of a little mini writing, and you bring what you've. I'm not trying to be like, yeah, we're like Saturday Night Live, but it's sort of that kind of format. In that
yes.
It's got to be, you go in with new ideas, and you have that week. With this, certainly there was like stuff that will remain.
Yeah.
Because you couldn't, like, you wouldn't be able to, it just wouldn't be feasible to learn 20 plus new sketches and songs in that time frame. But what will happen is they'll say the producers will come and watch it. You'll do a dress run on the Thursday with usually excess. So maybe sometimes, you'll have 30 and they'll say, yeah, we would like these cut.
Yes.
Because they're old or they don't fit or stuff. And then even sometimes they might even come back throughout the run.
Right.
But I would say, so it's 4 weeks, I think, 3 or 4 weeks of shows in the regular run at the Canal Cafe Theatre. That, I would say, upwards of 70% changed throughout the run.
Right, okay.
Yeah, probably. The opener and the closer, they never change. They always stick the same with each cast. And then sometimes as well, the sort of strange thing of it is that you'll also take sketches, and especially again with this Edinburgh run, because it's sort of a kind of best of.
Yes.
Partially. There'll be sketches that other people have written, and that if some have real success or longevity. Okay. I remember there was one that was for so long, and it was all about labour waiting.
Right.
And it was, the four of us, there's always 4 performers in the show, and then a musical director who's, I'm not sure if in Edinburgh they'll be on stage as well, but they're on stage with a piano.
Yes.
And so it's like when you're in it, it's good. It's like proper cabaret stuff, I think, to how I perceive it. But that was just sort of my own personal style. I just quite like it to be like fast paced. I find it hard to sort of mull on things for too long. But anyway, labour waiting. There's 4 of us sat there, and it's just about we're all just being silent. And then me as Keir Starmer, I think I was like, don't say anything. You'll scare them off. So have a go. And perhaps I'm not selling it that well at the moment now, but it would kill. It would always do so well.
Yeah.
I think it was in for months.
Right.
It just remained. It just stayed in because it just did so well. So yeah, it's sort of, I don't know, I feel like now, I was going to say I feel like I'm trying to talk too much about what's good about it, but that's actually
I would don't beat yourself up.
It's not an oil company. I don't think I'm not shilling for big news review for
big sketch troupe.
Yeah, for big sketch comedy. Just another one of their guys.
No, we stay very centrist on the show. I'm going to bring in some anti-comedians on the next episode.
Yeah.
Gotta hear both sides.
What I think is so good is that it's sort of like, because again, like I keep bringing back Martin, but Martin came and saw it. Martin and Vivian came and saw it, and they were amazed that the format has essentially stayed the same. There are differences and tweaks, but like the iconic sort of look is blazers, a tie indicative of political party.
Yeah.
And then these sort of, again, admirably, defer to the production crew, these maintained wigs that just, that go through us all.
Yeah.
But we're all very clean. No, but it's sort of strangely, there's this like, because of this similarity, I almost think that you get to see then, there is a sort of fascinating difference to like, the first night always, there will always be a huge number of returning patrons that come to every single first night.
Right.
That we'll always see it. And they'll sort of hang around by the bar and stuff, and they want to talk to you about like, oh yeah, I like how you did Starmer. I like how you did Trump or whatever, like. So it's like, yeah, I was wondering how you're going to handle that Elon Musk story. So it's this sort of, I was going to say uniform individuality, but that sounds a bit like a criticism. But I actually think that's quite a nice, like a.
Yes. Yeah.
You have to work within the confines of the aesthetic and of the news review, the show as it is. But then you get to put your own personal, your take and your interpretation of events and things. So
Yes.
I just think it's a very fun and I think in a way quite unique process. Again, I think as a comedian rather than sort of a musical theatre background person, it was just sort of fascinating for me to sort of watch it and to see the creation of these songs and maintaining the musical theme, but with different events and I don't know quite how to describe it. It's something that, do you know what I mean? It's almost something that I couldn't do like if on my own.
Yes,
there's no way I would be able to create rather.
Yeah.
That type of show. So that was what sort of appealed to me. And that's why I wanted to like come back and do the Edinburgh thing. That and I like going up. I like,
Yeah, it's good.
It's fun to go up, especially doing something like this where, you're not, not to rest on laurels a bit, but it certainly, it has a bit of pedigree to it. It goes up every year.
Definitely.
You definitely get back what you put in, but you can build on that momentum.
Oh, absolutely.
And so I don't know, when I took a show, it was obviously a much, much smaller venue. It was in the Blunderbuss, which was Heroes of the Fringe. And, that just like, I don't know, it's just sometimes such a slog. Like, and to just sort of like have to tell people like what you're, explain like why this smiling weirdo is better than that smiling weirdo.
Yes,
I don't know, it's just a little bit, I think that, I don't know, I'm personally excited to go and
definitely,
and be able to say it's News Review and we're doing this. And
absolutely. I mean, speaking of that, I'm very still satisfied to be talking to you because I had my own little experience. I've been to Fringe once so far.
Okay.
This small sketch troupe, people from a university, and
nice.
I fucked up big time before going. Just that year, I'd started medication for ADHD, and I ran out of my prescription before I went. I mean, the terrible thing with taking medication for ADHD is ADHD makes you terrible at remembering things, so it creates issues. And what I didn't realize was that there was like withdrawal symptoms and stuff. So I barely dragged myself through those 2 weeks, and I performed and stuff and it went okay, but I barely was able to like go to shows and things like that. And the leader of our sketch troupe was really like, we got to go and see NewsRevue and we got to go and talk to him after the show. This is the route into the industry.
Oh, did you go and see it?
No, I didn't.
Oh no!
I saw one show when I was there for the 2 weeks because I was just so completely like, I was barely like functional. Yeah. And the whole time afterwards, I was like, oh, I can't believe I missed that. I can't believe I missed the opportunity to go and like maybe try and talk to them after. And now I'm on a Zoom call with them.
Yeah.
So.
Well, come and see. So, sorry, I realised as well, I've not mentioned, this is so bad. So in the it's not just me. Like, again, and I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
So there's the cast. So there's me, Lani, who I had worked with, directed me in my previous run. Hannah and Connor are the performers, and then Fergus and Misha, who are the director and musical director.
Yeah.
Did I get that in the right order? I don't think I did. Misha's the director. Fergus is the musical director. So
Okay.
yeah, so that's the other thing as well. Is like, I guess, like, I think, peer review, I think it's a good thing.
Oh, definitely.
As sure as I am that stuff is funny, I do think it's important, and so that's part of it as well, which I think is good. But yeah, come and absolutely come and see it. Like,
oh, definitely. I'm hoping to see if I can get it.
Yeah. I tell you what as well though. This is my hot mental health tip, because I promise you this. This wasn't when I was doing my show, but I went up just for a week a few years back.
Yeah.
And forgot to take this stuff that I was taking.
Yes.
And it was sertraline. I was taking sertraline, and
oh, right, yeah.
And yeah, and you'd be dazzled, Patrick, at the amount of alternative comedians on the meds, on the meds. And honestly, so if you ever find yourself in there again, I would say put a shout out, because you would be surprised how many people. Because
that should have occurred to me.
I was like, I need 4 days worth, and I think I had 4 people each give me a day
that's brilliant.
To get me through. But yeah,
I can't believe that didn't occur to me. Probably more likely to bump into someone who is on a medication than isn't.
Well, do you know what though? I say that as though like, oh, so easy. But actually, yeah, that's exactly it. Like, if you're in that situation, then it's the easiest thing in the world, like hindsight, to be like, well, why didn't I do that? And you're like, well, because you weren't on your meds. Like,
it's very true.
Because you lost it. I'm trying to think now if there's anything else about the show. I should probably mention where it is. It'll be at Underbelly, I believe, and watch me get this wrong now. I think it's at 7:30, Patrick, is what I'm going to say.
Yes.
And if I'm wrong...
All right.
I'll just say... Wait a minute. 5:30, 6:30...
Oh, brilliant.
8:30, and then you can... Yeah.
I can, yeah. And if it turns out to be like 6:29, I'll just use my own voice and do my best impression.
Well, or if, once this interview's over, you actually decide that you really didn't like the cut of my jib, you could now then sabotage the show. You could...
Oh, very easily, yeah.
Yeah. You just put in the wrong time. No. No, I'm sure you would.
Hi, I'm Lewis Blomfield. I was lying. The show is actually cancelled. And we'd like you to give all of your money that you've ever earned in your entire life to Patrick O'Connell, who runs the Never As Funny podcast. Thank you.
We'll find out.
Yeah. But so, yeah. Roll the dice, Blomfield. You mess with the king. So are you going to be coming up?
I'm hoping to. It's tricky. I mean, it's a long journey for me.
Yeah, no doubt.
The benefit of this podcast is that it's all over Zoom. I'm hoping to try and come up for a couple of days. But if not, I'll be coming to see NewsRevue at some point somewhere, definitely. But yeah, hopefully I can make it up to Edinburgh.
Well, yeah, nice. As I say as well, so if you don't make it to the Fringe, hopefully you do. But if not, the Canal Cafe.
Yes.
In Little Venice. Right by Blomfield Street, actually.
Oh, right.
I remember that. I remember sending my parents it saying it's a good omen.
I think I may have been there, unless I've been to a place with a similar name. I have a couple of friends who are in a sketch...
Little Venice. Yeah, they do other shows.
Yeah.
At the theatre.
Yeah, I think I visited London and went to see a couple of friends perform there, because I think it was there, like...
Oh, yeah, nice.
Where they used to do it. But yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
And you've, without me having to ask, you've done plugs, which is perfect.
There we go.
So... One more thing is to ask...
I was just thinking, I was like, the rest of the cast are going to be like,
yeah.
What a slick little professional you've been.
To drop another format point on you out of nowhere.
Yes.
Usually at this point, I play like a 5-minute sample of the guest's work, or 2, not necessarily 5, but around then. Like, so it could be a bit of stand-up or...
Okay.
if there's anything NewsRevue related that you can provide me with, whatever is your purview, really.
So I don't want to give away anything that we've written now. So I will say as well, I think actually part of the charm of the show is that we pick our punches quite a bit. I think there's obviously,
right.
You have a go at the, you punch up, you don't go down, like, you're not having a go at like, not like that. You're having a go at these, speaking to power, but
you're not satirizing the working class.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, take them down a peg. No, can you imagine? Yeah. Cut that out. You said you weren't going to bring that up. I don't know. He said cut that out a bit too much, we think. So there was some good stuff that we did, but like some of it I think is like there's a good balance. I think if you're too angry, then actually people can get a little bit turned off by it. I think there's sort of, I think in a weird sort of way, a sort of a fan of both schools of like there's like Chris Morris, Brass Eye and Blue Jam and Four Lions, obviously, and loads of other stuff. But he's always been very much. I think he said, you've always got to get them on the point of your spear, or else you're just jester in the court. So he's very much of that. You've got it. There's got to be a meaning to it. There's got to be something behind it, and I think that is important. But I also really like. I think it was like Norm Macdonald.
Oh right, yeah.
Just one of the.
Yeah.
It's almost a bit glib to like say like what an inspiration. I think he'd probably quite like it, but yeah, one of the all times. But and he was saying so. It was in his last thing that he recorded before he died.
Yes. And
he did this bit about, he was like, comedians are considered the modern day philosophers, which I think is an insult to modern day philosophers. And I was like, I do like it, like the idea of like, it is comedy. They should be humour. You do. Yes. I don't think there's anything wrong with like being a bit silly. So like one was like, what did we do? We did this. It sounds a bit mad saying it out loud now, but we did this song. What was it? It was Mitch, the Republican senator. Is he a senator? I think he is a senator. Mitch McConnell.
Oh, yeah.
Doing this rap to, I think it was Vanilla Ice or something. Oh, God, what were the words or something? But then we just stopped. No one can see what I'm doing. But, when that bit's when he was being interviewed.
Yeah.
What did I say? All right, stop. Won't debate or listen. McConnell's back with aggressive legislation. If only I could think of all that gold. No, but yeah, and then other times, you would like get a bit sharper or a bit, a bit more, not vicious, but a bit more. There was this sketch with Suella Braverman about American Bully XLs.
Oh yeah.
And then like, because of all like her such vicious, horrible rhetoric, that she was just spouting.
Yeah.
Basically, it was like this. It was like, how much is that doggy in the window? And then we would all just be like, I don't want to be too loud about, but like really like push it a bit too far, arguably, like like really like.
Oh, that's brilliant.
I'm trying to think of the other stuff, or like in my run, the previous run, I was Keir Starmer, Connor's Keir Starmer this time around, but I was Keir Starmer and. The opening was all songs from The Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Right.
And it was like, basically just about him, high above this clock tower, I stand there all alone, hoping for a backbone I can't grow. Do I have opinions or positions or a stance? The public will never know. Something like that. I can't remember. Anyway, that's
lovely.
Lonnie's going to hate that. I've butchered that. But yeah.
Oh, I'm very much a fan of the vibe of that, though.
Nah, I think in the moment it's good. I think the show, in its essence, tries to find the balance between, that sort of, the very fact of like having the music in it. There is this like cabaret element to it, as opposed to like, I don't know, but something, something like Jonathan Pie or something where it's like very,
aggressive. Yeah.
That's like... if we're listen to this. If we're a cocktail, then Jonathan Pie is pure ethanol or something like that. You know what I mean? Like there's, we got a bit of a kick to us.
Yeah.
We're not, we're not corrosive.
Yeah.
Not that I don't back him. I think, he's doing his thing.
Yeah.
and I know he'll be listening. John.
Oh, he's a massive fan.
Go easy on me.
He keeps begging to be on the show. I just haven't got him on yet, but if he's good, he will be.
And you say, one day, kid.
You got something, Jonathan. You gotta make it big one day.
Yeah. But then the day when you do have him on, and then this comes back to haunt you, you say, God, yeah, that little dweeb Blomfield. Why was I entertaining him? Yeah, I'm trying to think.
I mean, I'm happy as well to play, like, if you have a clip of, like, one of your own stand-up sets or something like that.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I think, do you know what, as well, I might have, actually, Pete, one of the techs, filmed our previous thing, so I might actually have some footage of a song and stuff, so I'll tell you, I'll send you...
Oh, brilliant.
I'll send you a bit of both, because I don't want it... I'm conscious that it is me. I don't want it to be, like, too much just me. I'll send the NewsRevue bit. Yeah, I'll send that over.
Okay, lovely.
Oh, and also, we'll be flyering a bit.
Yeah.
So even if you're out and about, you catch us on the street, we'll be chatting to you.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, wigs and blazers galore.
How long's your guys' run at the Fringe?
Full run. So it'll be...
brilliant. Okay.
30th?
Yeah.
I think we travel up on the 29th, so either the 30th or the 31st until the 27th. If I've said that wrong,
no, that
use
sounds
AI.
about right.
Just use AI to move my voice and then, get me...
Fantastic. Okay, I am vaguely conscious as well. In about 2 minutes, Zoom's about to shut it off. So...
Okie dokie. Is that alright for you?
That's perfect. So...
Brilliant.
Coming up is a clip of NewsRevue song or some stand-up, possibly both. Not sure what's happening, but here it comes. Hello. This is where a sample of Lewis or NewsRevue's work would go if I had it. But unfortunately, I had some issues with getting that. Should have it at some point. And at some point, this episode will be updated with it, but I didn't want to hold it back for too long. So this is a placeholder until at some point it will be updated with that little clip. But yeah, imagine that you've just heard the funniest thing you've ever heard in your fucking life. And it's happened.
How about that?
I know, the joy of editing.
Golly, I know. Drink it in.
And plugs are done, so everybody knows where to find you. I'll drop that in the show notes. I'll drop your real-life location show notes if you like. Sorry, I've just spoken over you then. I do apologise. No, so good. I was just bullshitting about doxing. It's fine. You weren't. Don't you be so self-effacing. I was just going to say, it would be remiss if I didn't mention, so I run, or rather I'm part of a team that runs a night called Pinata. Oh, yes. Which is a comedy cabaret night that we run, which I love very dearly, actually. And, yeah, there's quite a big team, but at the moment, sort of the main of us are, it's me, Michael Dewlings, LEBW, Han on the tech desk as well, actually, and Joe Dunn takes the photos. And then, yeah, people always build a pinata for it. I think it's our friend Flo at the moment is building the pinatas. And, yeah, it's always, I love it. Oh, fantastic. And it's alternative. We're on the off season now. Yeah. Just for the summer, and then we'll be back in, I want to say, September or October at the Ivy House, which I mentioned earlier, which was where Paul the Other One used to be for a little while. But yeah, the Ivy House in the Golden Lounge, it's called, and it's lovely. Oh, wow, that's very bougie. And you can, find us at pinataplay.com. Yes. And I believe Pinata Play on Instagram as well. I think I found it before. Yes, it is. My desperate search to You've done your homework, O'Connell. For once, yeah. You keep your ear very close to the ground with me, don't you? I don't know what I meant by that. I don't know, but I liked it. It's good. I might keep it as a tagline. Thank you very much, mate. But thank you very much. No, it's been lovely speaking to you, Patrick. Yes. Thank you. I'm terrified it's going to run out before I can say that. So thank you very much for coming on the show. This has been really good. Thank you very much. And yeah, come and see NewsRevue. It's going to be a lot. Absolutely. I'll do my best. And everybody listening, of course, come and see. Otherwise, there will be consequences. I don't know what yet, but I'm going to do something to people. We're going to find you. Oh, yeah. Thank you for making it all the way to the end of the show. You can find the show on Instagram at NeverIsFunny, all one word, all lowercase. The music used for the intro and outro is There It Is by Kevin MacLeod, licensed under a Creative Commons Attribution 4.0 licensing, Compotech.com. The song used in the middle section was the theme to The Adventures of Portland Bill, composed by John Grayson, Mick Parsons, and the guest next week is Gaby Lucas. See you then.